Data quality is extremely important in psychological research. This short 8-minute video is designed to improve data quality by teaching participants how to complete online surveys in a way that reduces the kinds of errors that produce low-quality data. Please watch this video from beginning to end. When the video is finished, you'll be given a short quiz to assess your understanding of the principles described here. In this video, I'm going to explain what high-quality data means and why it is important, and why errors occur in online survey data. Then, I will introduce a simple method that you can follow to minimize errors in your survey responses. This method consists of 5 simple principles, which, if followed, will enable you to easily avoid the types of responses that could lead to your data being unusable. What is high-quality data and why is it important? High-quality data is data that measures what it is designed to measure with minimum error. Researchers who design online surveys are trying to understand and solve important social problems. The higher the data quality, the more effectively they can do their job of working to make the world a better place. When researchers collect data using online surveys, they often find that a portion of their data contains a lot of errors. Sometimes this makes it impossible to draw firm conclusions, and it can even lead to false conclusions. That's why it's really important that we minimize errors in survey data. Why do these errors occur? The main reason why survey data can contain a lot of errors is that participants are either not paying sufficient attention to what they're doing, or they lack the motivation to answer the questions diligently. When participants give insufficient attention or effort to a survey, they may fail to read instructions, give random responses, miss questions, or choose the same answer many times in a row. All of these types of responses lead to errors and low-quality data. To combat this problem, researchers have developed ways to detect this kind of responding using sophisticated statistical analyses. A participant who is not paying attention, fails to read the instructions, or gives random or repetitive responses will be detected 95% of the time. How do I make sure that my data is high quality, useful data? It's really quite easy to ensure that your data is always high quality and usable. By following a set of simple principles, it is easy to avoid making the kinds of errors that make data low quality and unusable. These principles are based on the letters in the word SMART, which stand for start to finish, minimize distractions, answer all questions, read instructions and questions carefully, and take your time. Let's go through each of these in turn. The S in SMART stands for start to finish. This means completing a survey in one continuous sitting and not leaving it part way through and coming back to finish it later. Completing a survey in multiple stints can reduce data quality and lead to errors. Don't start a survey unless you're prepared to complete it in one sitting. So, always complete surveys from start to finish. M stands for minimize distractions. One of the major causes of inattention in online survey data is participants being distracted. They may be multitasking, watching TV or monitoring Facebook at the same time as completing a survey, or they may be working in a noisy location like a cafe. When your attention is divided, you're more likely to give random or inconsistent responses, and these are one of the hallmarks of inattention that researchers look out for. So whenever you complete a survey, make sure you do so at a time and place where you can give it your full attention. A stands for answer all questions. Failing to answer a large number of questions can make your data low quality and unusable. Sometimes participants skip questions because they don't feel confident in their response. However, you don't need to be certain of your response to answer the question. Researchers are often interested in your best guess, first impression, or intuition, rather than in factual knowledge. So try to answer each question as best you can. Also, answer each question in the order in which it's presented to you. The order of questions in a survey is often an important part of the research design, and if you skip a question, You may not be able to return to it later. Please note, it is okay to decline to answer some questions if you find them to be offensive or are uncomfortable giving an answer. However, you should not skip questions just because you're unsure of your answer or think it's a silly question. So always try to answer all questions, even if you're not very sure of your response. R stands for Read Instructions and Questions Carefully. Failing to read instructions and questions carefully is the #1 reason for data being classed as unusable. Very often, a survey will require that you read some instructions, or it'll describe a scenario and ask for your response. These instructions and scenarios usually contain important information that is critical to the success of the study. In order to check whether or not you read the information carefully, you may be asked questions relating to the instructions or scenarios. If you're unable to correctly answer these questions, your data may be classed as unusable. Another way researchers check that you have read the questions carefully is to embed questions that can only have one correct answer, or which instruct you to give a certain response. If you answer incorrectly to these questions, your data may be unusable. So to avoid these markers of poor data quality and ensure your data is always useful, always read instructions and questions carefully. Finally, T stands for Take Your Time. Take your time to complete a survey. Don't rush. Each question deserves your full attention. If there are instructions, please read them carefully too. The amount of time it should take to complete a given survey is stated in the survey description, so be prepared to give that amount of time to completing the survey. Don't dwell too long on any question. In general, researchers are interested in your gut reactions, instincts, or initial impressions and thoughts, so try not to overthink any question or second guess yourself too much. Answer as best you can and move on to the next question. It's best to move through the survey at a steady pace, reading each question carefully and giving your full or natural response. So remember, take your time and work at a steady pace. So those are the 5 principles of smart responding. Let's review them. First, start to finish. Don't begin a survey unless you're prepared to complete it in one sitting. Minimize distractions. Find a time and place to complete the survey where you will not be distracted, and avoid multitasking. Answer all questions, even if you're not sure of your answer. Read instructions and questions carefully, and take your time. Work through the survey at a steady pace without dwelling too long on any one question. By following these simple principles whenever you complete an online survey, you'll be ensuring that the data you provide is of the highest quality, helping researchers to get the answers they need to solve the problems that affect us all.